All right, so I let this sit for a few hours, see what's going on, see what anything else would pop up. But let's see the rest of what Chris had to say. Delusional company insults fans and keep getting worse. So they respond after they saw those damn subscriptions lost they got. So let's see what the
Coast
Wizard of
is
the Coast
finally
say.
communicating with us, and now I wish they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
We all knew Wizard's response would be subpar, but this is condescending, deceitful, and emotionally charged.
Damn.
Last video, we were told that WotC would only care if there was a provable impact to their bottom line.
What?
After everyone in the community rallied around canceling subscriptions, we have made ourselves very clear.
Yeah,
you will
indeed.
notice a toxic trend throughout this statement, and that is that WotC is going to accuse their community of everything that they themselves already are.
Right.
Every accusation is a confession. Let's dive in. When we initially conceived of revising the OGL, it was with three major points in mind. First, we wanted the ability to prevent the use of D&D content from being included in hateful and discriminatory products.
That's BS.
Second, we wanted to address those attempting to use D&D in Web3, blockchain games, and NFTs.
And when was that ever a thing? Yeah, that was never a thing, was it?
I feel like everybody knows that they're using hateful content and NFTs to shield themselves from criticism.
Right.
Even though none of these things have ever been
Yeah,
a
I never
major
heard of it.
issue, they insist on telling us that it will be, and it warrants them seizing undue control. I'm completely sick of it. It doesn't help that Wizards already had the power to take away the game license from individual creators. Wizards, you don't get to stand on real issues to steal from your community. Everybody sees through this. Moving on. By making clear that the OGL content is limited to tabletop role-playing content like campaigns, modules, and supplements. And third, we wanted to ensure that the OGL is for the content creator, the home brewer, the aspiring designer, our players, and the community.
If that's the case, then why are you creating a new one? Isn't that what the old one already is doing? Why are you creating a new one for? Is she?
Not major corporations to use for their own commercial and promotional purposes. Okay, the problem with this is that now you have defined what you perceive a large corporation to be, and it's not good. Viewer, think about a large corporation for one moment. What do you think of? Your insurance company? Amazon? Maybe Hasbro or Wizards? Not according to them. A large corporation is now anyone who comes most of the way to grossing $1 million.
What?
I don't see my favorite TTRPG company break 1 or even 2 million and think, wow.
So if you make more money than them, you're a big ass company. You ain't a streamer, you're not a YouTuber, you're just a big ass company.
Because
but,
these
of
projects
course,
are built by teams.
Yeah,
Profit margins are thin. You have to pay artists, writers,
you gotta pay all these people right here. And you think you just one person.
Money left, you have to pay for your next project. That $750K becomes a lot less really fast. Back to the statement.
And you just one big ass streamer, man. One big streamer making all the money. All the money.
Our job to be good stewards of the game. And 2, the OGL exists for the benefit of the fans. Nothing about those principles has wavered for a second. Saying that the OGL exists for the benefit of the fans is both insulting and only tells half of the story. Here, Wizards props themselves up as these generous benefactors. They gave us the OGL. Why are we complaining? We should be grateful. I will spoil it and say that at no point in this document will they ever credit the OGL or the community for building D&D into what it is today.
Popularizing
relying
it more.
instead
And that's the one thing that, keeps companies afloat most of the time. Like, World of Warcraft or Call of Duty, the fans go back to it if your game is good. And, and you keep putting out content. Sometimes with live service games too, you put out content or great content, people gonna flock back. They might not stay there for a while, but they will eventually come back, and that's what your game will grow up eventually even more. But if you start changing shit that the fans don't like, your game's fucked. Your game dies.
On petty
You lose
insults and
fan
lies.
interest.
The OGL does benefit the community, but without it, D&D would not be a fraction of the game that it is today. WotC are the people who benefit from this.
I like the Overwatch
OGL
art
has
community,
been a
you know,
force
kept
field
that game
keeping
afloat
people
too.
From playing other games
That was one of the big
and
thing too.
D&D's IP while making their game for them. Again, they are projecting their own issues onto the community. Let's keep reading. That was why our early drafts of the new OGL included the provisions that they did. That draft language was provided to content creators and publishers so that their feedback would be considered before.
But they act like they had like one content creator that made all these millions and billions of dollars though.
Everything was finalized. In addition to
There's
language
one
allowing
streamer,
us to
there's
address
one goddamn
discriminatory
person
and hateful conduct,
got all this
and
money.
clarifying what types of products the OGL covers. Our drafts included royalty language designed to apply to large corporations attempting to use OGL content. It was never our intent to impact the vast majority of the community. This is terrible because I've heard for weeks about this draft they're speaking of existing under contracts and NDA. This is another unconfirmed leak, but something to consider when they talk about this just being a little draft. When you consider both Wizards' business practice and what they tried to sneak past us,
See, and that right there, that would tell the community what they trying to do, because they trying to sneak stuff already behind your back, and now you get a leak that says something similar to that, then you start getting the fandom on putting you on notice, because you know your business practices was full of shit. So now they can see how the leaks are adding up towards the same thing with the draft you trying to put out with the OGL.
Inclined to believe it. They may have wanted some amount of validation from their bigger content creators, but they definitely did not want you viewers seeing this. However, it is clear from the reaction that we rolled a 1. It has become clear that it is no longer possible to fully achieve all 3 goals while still staying true to our principles. So, here's what we're doing. Spoiler alert, they're making a new OGL still. The next OGL will contain the provisions that allow us to protect and cultivate the inclusive environment we're trying to build, and specify that it only covers content for TTRPGs. That means that other expressions such as educational and charitable campaigns, live streams, cosplay, virtual tabletop uses, etc. will remain unaffected by the OGL update. Content already released under 1.0a will also remain unaffected. This is just misleading. Nowhere did they ever mention going after cosplayers, charities, or education.
You just do some shit in there.
Nobody even once suspected that you would sue St. Jude or shut down school games. This is very obviously misleading. They're trying to skew this as them reaching for the middle ground using a list of non-issues. Back to the statement. What it will not contain is any royalty.
Like I say, it's like your girl or your guy accusing you of something that nothing happens. you went out to the store. No, I didn't. I saw you. That wasn't me. And you show them proof the video that you was there. You was here the whole damn time. They're like, oh, shit, you fucking accuser.
It also will not include the license back provision that some people were afraid was a means for us to steal work. That thought never crossed our minds. Under any new OGL, you will own the content you create. We won't. Any language we put down will be crystal clear and unequivocal on that point.
Oh my God.
The license back language was intended to protect us and our partners from creators who incorrectly...
Partners, they mean business people with ad revenue and all that other stuff. Yeah, they full of it though. This is some tricks. This is some trickster bullshit.
Actually allege that we steal their work.
But this is actually
because of coincidental similarities. The PR disaster of stepping on someone's content would actually be worse with the license back. because instead of it being an embarrassing oopsie, you appear to have put up preemptive justification for stealing other people's work.
Yeah, isn't it like people just like randomly just, they act like people just randomly taking a whole thing and say, it's mine, it's me, I made it up, it's me, I did it. Like, what? I don't think nobody says that. You know?
And are now doing that. Do I think wizards would intentionally steal someone else's work? I don't particularly think so. But this, again, looks like they're setting the stage for them to do it, and has rightfully made everyone very angry because it is...
So if you take your whole time, hours, and time to make it or draw with your hand, because, you know, I'm an artist my damn self, and you just draw something that you like, I don't know, say Pokemon or something like that. You telling me Pokemon, Nintendo could be like, hey, that's ours now. That artwork you drew, that those spent hours making, that's mine now. Thank you. I'll take that off you. Like, what?
Genuinely terrible.
And then they show it off in one of their little posters, and you get no money for it.
Believe the worst possible expectations of wizards.
What?
And then lower my expectations further. But here's another part. As we continue to invest in the game that we love and move forward with partnerships in film, television, and digital games, that risk is simply too great to ignore. The new OGL will contain provisions to address that risk, but we will do it without a license back and without suggesting we have rights to the content you create. Your ideas and imagination are what make this game special, and that belongs to you.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
Whether it's genuine attempted theft or a complete overlook, we may never know because it looks like they have given up that point. This, hopefully, will be the end of the license talk.
Oh, slide,
slide. Out. I want to see it on paper. A couple of last thoughts. First, we won't be able to release the new OGL today because we need to make sure that we get it right.
Yeah,
but it is
they saw that backlash, that's why.
You're going to hear people say that they won and we lost because making your voices heard forced us to change our plans. Those people will only be half right. They won, and so did we. No, Watsy, we didn't win.
Nobody won.
With each passing day, we exist less and less.
Right.
This isn't over until you give up or create an OGL so unchanged that you might as well have given up. Even if that were true, your sore loser response
I'm pretty sure nobody wanted it.
Quiet part out
that
loud.
Was just the funny part.
Your idea of us both winning is that we will return as if nothing happened and everyone happily goes back to consuming the product. But even then, we know that. In my last video and all over the internet, it's been expressed that we are doing this because we care about D&D more than you do. Wizards of the Coast, we are not your community. You exist within ours. And without a legal document stating that the old OGL is more or less staying, you have completely worn out your welcome. To the suit at Watsy watching this right now, you are addressing me and my friends directly, so I address you. Stop trying to paint the tabletop role-playing community as boisterous jerks. This community made you and could be done with you in an instant.
Yeah, because like it was nothing. Like D&D was nothing until like the OGL started thing, and people started like gaining traction over time, and then you start hearing more of it. Then you start hearing Pathfinder, and you see all this other stuff, and then game becomes big because word of mouth spreads, and then yes, your game gets popular. But your game was like trash before, though, right? Until fans enough to build your brand back up, and now you want to change some stuff.
Think you have somehow won anything here? You are completely delusional. Returning to the statement, our plan was always to solicit the input of our community before any update to the OGL. The drafts you've seen were attempting to.
It's the definition of somebody trying to act brand new.
We want to always delight fans and create experiences
but they ain't fully dead.
Together that everyone loves. We realize that we did not do that this time, and we are sorry for that. Our goal was to get exactly the type of feedback on which provisions worked.
Yeah, you're trying to get feedback, alright.
Which we ultimately got from you. My friends, that is simply not the case.
Yeah.
The OGL was supposed to be released yesterday, but it leaked a little over a week ago. Their plan was never for you to get a good look at it. Even if they publicly released it beforehand, you would be left with like a week or maybe
you know,
a
it's
few.
so bad too that, you know, it supposed to happen that day and they had to take a step back. So, you know, there was some bullshit happening. Like, you supposed to release the OGL, but you didn't release it. So now, because, you know, fans leaked it early, they're like, oh, shit.
Days to
Yes,
thumb
they
through.
did take
then
their
say
time
that
now.
any change this major could only have been done well if we were willing to take that feedback, no matter how it was provided. So we are. Thank you for caring enough to let us know what works and what doesn't, what you need and what scares you. What scares you?
Scared?
This document is full of projection.
I don't think nobody's
Wizards
scared.
labeling everyone but themselves as major corporations.
Yeah,
and
ain't
accusing
nobody
the
scared of it.
community of being loudmouth,
See the
annoying
hypocrisy
dragons.
of it.
Guys, you literally call D&D the world's greatest role-playing game. You don't get to paint anyone else as claiming they've won things that are clearly not true. And now, as their income is falling off rapidly, they have the audacity to call anyone but themselves scared. They are terrified of us, canceling our subscriptions, moving on to other games. They are mortified at the community response. They are just now realizing that the TTRPG community has no masters, and their influence is much smaller than they thought. I want everyone watching this to pay close attention. This is the most important thing I'm going to say in any of these videos. This means absolutely nothing if they give themselves power to change it whenever they want. I'm deeply concerned by the fact that they didn't even mention anyone's concerns about their ability to change the rules at the drop of a hat.
Exactly.
Which leads me to believe that their plans there, or anywhere, remain unchanged. Their word means nothing.
Yep.
Walking back the royalty or the licensing issues mean absolutely nothing if at any point...
that part about, you know, you owe us royalties if you make content and all that stuff. Oh, that was, in the leak anyway. Oh, that was, that's a terrible thing to put in there. And fans see that, oh, yeah, you full of it. Your company and practices is on that. Yeah. Yikes.
They can start walking back on it in 30 days. If they do not give us absolute certainty that they will not encroach on our hobby again, it's time to walk away. It's already over. When the new OGL drops, the first thing any of you should look for is a part that says, these are the rules, they're going to be consistent, and they will not change. Till next time.
Yeah, there you go. But there you go.
Back to
that part, man. Yeah, I gotta go back to that part right there. Oh man, this is Web3. Second, we wanted to address those attempts to use D&D and Web3 blockchain games and NFT. This was so random they put in there. They just trying to make anything up. Like I said, it felt like it was an AI wrote this out here for the fans, and they just copied and pasted this shit. That just seemed like to me. Oh my goodness, it's so, that's wild as hell though. But there you go. OGL and provisions and all this other craziness. Delusional company. All right.